Okay, so let's get started with our student feedback system using sentiment analysis. So let's have a walkthrough through our folder structure. So what structure we are having in our project is like, first folder we do have our data set where we will be storing our training data set and whatever feedbacks the students are gonna give. Next one, we are having a static folder where we store all the CSS, images, JavaScript folders that we are needing for our application. Next, we are having a templates folder where in templates folder we store all our HTML pages that are used in our application, and after that we have all our Python files. Okay, so let's try running our project. So let's click on server.py, and this is the main entry point of our project. So whenever running our project, we can see our project will be running on a port 5978 and the host is 0.0.0. So let's try running this our project. So let's right click and say run server, and our project will be up and running. So you need to if you want to change the port number, so you can change whatever port numbers you are having on your system. Okay, so you can see here we are having like our project is running at an http 0.00597, right? So let's click on it and you will be redirect to a browser where we will see our application up and running. So it takes bit of time, so wait for some time, or else what we can do is we can navigate to our browser manually and we can enter the URL. So for some systems it's supported and for system it's not supported, so please do come here and enter the whatever URL that is displayed. Okay, so this will load our application, and as it shows like it is a welcome page for our feedback system. So if the students want to submit the feedback, he can land on the website and click on get started. So here we do have some instructions like help us to improve. So giving the feedback should eventually help us for improving whatever facilities we are providing, right? So here some instructions are given is like how the feedback should be given. So we need to fill out all the required fields, and we need to enter what all things we think about the and provide the feedbacks. Okay, so here again we are having some text. You can put whatever text you want to. Okay, so let's proceed to provide a feedback, right? So here we are having a placeholders where we can provide the input. So like if we want a feedback for our guidance, like how what guidance our college is providing to us. So if I feel like there should be some improvement, there should be some improvement, right? So if I feel like there should be some improvement in the guidance, so I will be providing like feedback like yeah, there some things are not working properly, and there should be some improvement in our guidance, right? For course content, if I feel like it's very vast. Okay, and for examination, the examinations are more tougher. Okay, lab work not conducted timely. You can give whatever feedbacks you want to give. For example, I'm just taking whatever I feel. Okay, so for library facilities, what we can say is like, yeah, the library facilities are good. Extracurricular activities need to be conducted more seriously. Okay, So here we are having again the feedbacks for the teachers, whatever you feel the teacher one is performing, whether she's performing well or not. So whatever feedbacks you want to give for that particular teachers, you can give here. So let's have a look, please. Not on time for lectures. Okay, so feedback for student 2 is like I feel like cool. For teacher 3 we can have teachings are awesome, right? For teacher 4 we can say it's like okay, need the skills to be improved. Okay, the spelling here only it's got wrong. Okay, for teacher 6 we can say is like good, one of the best teacher. Okay, one of the best teacher. And for teacher 6 is like so rude with students and also teachings are not that better. Okay, so after submitting all these feedbacks, you forget you should click on submit feedback. So all these feedbacks will be submitted to our server end, and we will be storing these feedbacks in our CSV file, right? So wherever we click on the submit feedback, you will be landing on a thank you page. Thank you for your valuable feedback. Okay, so now the feedback has been given, and we have to check some feedbacks, what all feedbacks have been given by the students, and whether the feedbacks were positive, negative or neutral, right? So here we are having a login on the page, so you can click on login page. Now here we are having three types of user. First user we are having is admin, where password is also admin. Okay, so let's log in through our admin user and see what all things are being visible to the admin page. Okay, so here we can see we are having a department dashboard. So department dashboard, like whether the department is providing good guidance, what are the course content for that department. For example, we are having computer science department, so whether the computer science department is providing good guidance, what are the course contents, how is the examination, whether the CS department have a good lab work and library facilities and extracurriculars. So admin is able to see what the department is providing. So here on we can see we are having a feedback. So total feedbacks we are having is 251 feedbacks. We are having amongst that 251 feedbacks, we are having 46% of positive feedback, 17% of neutral and 37% of negative feedbacks. So below that we are having a bar chart which represents the number of feedbacks, right? So here we are seeing that we are having 46% of positive feedbacks. Now this bar graph shows it in details, like for guidance what amount of feedbacks we are having, what are positive, what are negative, what are neutral. So here you can see we are having a legends. So for positive we are having a blue color, for negative we are having a red color, and for neutral one we are having a yellow color, right? So what this graph denotes is, like suppose we need to see, like for guidance we are having total of 101 positive for and 102 negative feedbacks and 48 neutral feedbacks, right? So making this total, so what we can derive from this feedback is, like from 251 feedbacks, for guidance we are having 101 positive, 102 negative and 48 neutral feedbacks, right? So this what advantage we are providing by what advantage we are providing through our application is like, right? So admin we can see is like whether he's a principal, and principal has no time for seeing what are the feedbacks are provided by the students. He has no time to read what feedbacks are given by the students, right? So he must, in a short period of time, he should know what are the feedbacks, right? So what he will do is like he will log in. Yes, he will see 200 feedbacks are there. Amongst that 46 are positive feedbacks, 17 are neutral, and 37 are negative. So he can, from this he can derive come to conclusion like, yeah, 46% is positive. So yeah, the department is working fine, right? So and looking like 37% are negative. So if he wants to see why these 37% are negative, right? So which amongst which facility is not being provided, why the 37% is negative, right? The 37% should be as low as possible, because the department should have positive feedbacks, the department should not have the negative feedback. So he can come to a conclusion like, yeah, which are the fields which are concluding to this 37 percentage. So coming down we can see is like which facilities or which content is receiving a lot of feedbacks, negative feedbacks, right? So he can from here we can see is like this negative bar is topmost for examination, right? So we can come to a conclusion, so he can come to conclusion like, yeah, the most of the feedbacks are negative for the examination section. Most of After that, most of the feedbacks are negative for the guidance. So for that department, that examination section, all the things should be improved. Similarly for the guidance, the guidance given by the teachers should be improved, because it is receiving more of the negative feedbacks, right? So there should be improvement in the guidance, there should be improvement in our examination. And what are the factors that are contributing to positive feedbacks is like, so the highest bar for the positive is given by the extracurricular activities. So he can conclude that extracurricular activities are being conducted well. So yeah, he can see like extracurricular activities are going well, same library facilities are also being provided well. So he can come to a conclusion, and he can see in a single view that which facilities are good, which facilities are performing well, which are not performing well. Okay, so after that we are having a trends in sentiments. Like here we are having a graph which can be shown monthly. Now here with this graph is static, and as we are not having a data for the months, right? We have, when we collect for plotting this graph, basically we need a lot of feedbacks from the students, and those feedbacks should be over across a month. So for what this x-axis denotes is like, for 2 months, what are the sentiments, what are so how, what is the trend in the sentiments, whether the positive feedbacks are increasing or decreasing, like. So here we can see is like the trends in the negative feedbacks are decreasing by the month. So here we can conclude is like, yeah, the negative feedbacks are decreasing, so our performance of the department is increasing, right? So we can come to conclusion from this graph is like, as the our negative feedbacks are decreasing, means our department is making some improvement, right? So for now this graph whatever you are seeing here is the static one, because for plotting this graph we need a lot of feedbacks, and that feedbacks should include nearly about 10 months. So for now here we can see is like we are having 251 feedbacks. Now this 251 feedbacks is for first month. So similarly we need to get the feedbacks for second month, for third month, till we receive the 12 months. And after receiving all these feedbacks we can plot this graph. Now currently we are not having that much of feedback, so this graph is not working currently, right? So this graph is statically, we are having fixed values, and from that values only this graph is being check. Now here you can see is like the total of 251. So any student comes and submits the feedback, so this count will increasing, it will become a 252, and this percentage will be changing. So these are dynamic fields, right? These are real time. So as the feedbacks are increasing, these points will be changing and this graph will be changing, but this graph will remain static, right? Because we don't have that much amount of feedbacks. So real time, what we will be getting is, we will be getting a total count of feedbacks received, what amongst that, what percentage are positive, what percentage are negative, what percentage are neutral. Okay, after that we have also the admin, or we can say the principal is all, will also be able to see staff dashboard. Means we have provided the feedbacks for teachers as well as these facilities provided by the college, right? So so here for teachers we have received the 11 feedbacks. Amongst that, 44% are positive, 15% are neutral, and 41% are negative. So if the principal wants to see which teachers are performing negative, so he can see the most highest red graph is been given to the teacher 6. So he can go towards the teacher and help in some improving him teaching skills, so he can get some positive feedbacks, right? So he can see like which teachers are performing well, which teachers are performing not well. So these graphs shows, gives an overview like which teachers are performing good in their academics, right? Which their teachings are helping students for understanding the concepts, right? So this graph provides an overview like what are which teacher has the most positive feedbacks, which teacher has the most negative feedback. So from here we can see is like teacher 2 has most positive feedbacks, right? So teacher 2 is performing best amongst all the teachers, because he has got some positive feedbacks. So we can conclude like best teacher, the principal can have best teacher awards for performing well, for having students, for teaching well for the students, right? So we can do all these kinds of things from this graph. So it gives an overviews like which teachers are performing well for that department, which teachers are not. So the teachers which are not performing well should improve their skills, which would ultimately help the students. Okay, so this graph we are having. And coming down again, this one we are having static because we are not having that much of the records. And here we are having some codes for the feedbacks, like it is very important to have a feedback for improvement our facilities what we are providing. Below that we are having a contact form. Now it's not working, it's only for the show purpose, like yeah, it's works fine. After that we are having, if they want to subscribe, get in touch with our feedback system, okay, so they can provide here mail. So here we can see on top bar we are having a result dashboard, and clicking on result dashboard will navigate us to this dashboard. After that we are having a contact form, so it will navigate us to contact form. Now if the admin wants to see what feedbacks are given by the student, so we will click on display feedback. So all the feedbacks given by the student for the course facilities are being shown here. So what are these feedbacks given for is like, we can see here at what time the feedback has been submitted, and for teaching what the feedback is given. So here you can see is like, I can't understand the method of teaching. So this is a negative feedback, right? So the teaching score is -1. For negative feedback we are having -1, for positive feedback we are having 1, and for neutral feedback we are having 0. So whenever the student submits his feedback, our model detects whether the sentiment is positive, negative or neutral. So as soon as our model gets an input like, I can't understand the method of teaching, our model gives it a score as -1. So this helps for our analysis purpose, like the feedback given by the student is negative. Like similarly here we can see for course content we are having very good and innovative course content, so these are being classified as a positive, so it is +1, right? For examination, what the feedback is given is like, examination pattern is good, but it can be done better. So feedback is a negative, so it has been classified as a neutral comment, right? So neutral is if on one side he is saying it is good, and on other side he is saying it can be done better. So it is a kind of neutral feedback, right? So the examination score is 0, which denotes a neutral, right? So all the feedbacks provided by the student, we are going to, the admin will able to see all these feedbacks. So like we are having 251 feedbacks, so these are 251 feedbacks which the admin can see, right? So if the admins want to go back, he can click on go back button and he will be again back. So let's log out from the admin section and let's log in with our teacher section. Now as we have seen that we are having one admin user, we are having one HOD user, so username is HOD and again the password is HOD for HOD section, right? So let's log in now. The HOD will able to see only the performance of the teachers, because right, because what is the work of the HOD is like she needs to see, needs to see which teachers are performing well under mm, the particular HOD. So she would only be able to he or she will only be able to see the feedbacks for the teachers, whatever feedback. So for teachers we are having 11 feedbacks, and amongst that 44 are positive, 15 are negative, and 41 are negative feedbacks, right? So the HOD will only be able to see the feedbacks of the teacher and what the particular teacher is being performing. Now if she wants to see what actual feedbacks are given by the students, so he or she can select the option display feedback, and here what we are having that 0 to 10 means 11 feedbacks for the teachers, right? So what are these 11 feedbacks given? So as we see, as we have provided for teacher 1, not on time for lectures, so this has been classified as a negative feedback by our machine learning model, right? Now see, we have given cool for the teacher 2, so the feedback has been classified as a positive feedback, like teachings are awesome. Again, this is classified as a positive feedback by our machine learning model. Next, need the skills to be improved, this is the negative feedback, so our model has classified it as a negative, right? One of the best teachers, so again the feedback is positive. Now here, so rude with the students and also teachings are not that better, so this is a negative comment, and this it is marked as negative by our machine learning model. So why machine learning helps, right? So you can see is like that, if the principal wants to the principals or those HODs don't have time, so they can't they can't give much time for reading these feedbacks, right? So they only want to see is like what feedbacks are positive, what feedbacks are negative, which teachers are performing well, which teachers are not performing well. Yeah, they don't have this much of time for reading each and every feedback for the each and every teacher. So here comes in our machine learning model. What our machine learning model does is like our machine learning models take this sentence as an input and predict whether the given feedback is positive or negative, right? So our model helps in classifying these feedbacks, like these feedbacks are positive, negative or neutral. And as we can see here, for teacher for as you see, we are having a bar graph for the teacher 1. So for teacher 1 we are having positive, negative and neutral. So from simply here we can count like how many we are having negatives 1. So here we are having 1, here we are having 2, 3, 4 and 5 and 6, like. So we can conclude from these negative ones, like from 11 the teacher 1 is having 11 feedbacks, and amongst that 11 feedbacks the teacher is having 6 negative feedbacks, right? So HOD can conclude like from amongst 11 feedbacks the teacher 1 is receiving 6 feedbacks, so that teacher 1 should improve herself, right? So this model helps for HODs or principal to have a short view about the performance of the teachers, right? So they don't need to read what are feedbacks are given by the students, whether the feedbacks are negative or positive. So this work is done by our machine learning model. So our machine learning model itself classifies whether the feedbacks are positive, negative or neutral, and after classifying all those things we are receiving these charts. Now as we have seen, like the teacher one was having 11 feedbacks, and from that 11 feedbacks the negatives were 6 the teacher was having 6 negative feedbacks, right? So this graph is being plot on the basis of what all this data we have been received from the students. So whenever the student submits the feedback, the feedbacks are being passed to our model. What our model does is our model predicts whether the feedback is positive or negative or neutral, and after predicting all these feedbacks, the feedbacks are being written in the this our CSV, and this CSV we are using for showing this our graphs and what all percentage of our calculation. Okay, so this was HOD login. Now let's log in with teacher credentials. So teacher credentials, how we are given the teacher credentials is, suppose teacher one wants to see what feedbacks she has got, and so we are having username as teacher one and password as teacher one. So let's log in. Now what teacher one sees is like the teacher one has got 11 feedbacks. Amongst that 18% are positive, 27 neutral and 55% are negative. So what he can conclude is like, yeah, I am getting most of the negative 55% of negative feedback, so there are some things I should improve from myself, right? So what the teacher one can conclude from this dashboard is like, yeah, there need to be some improvement in myself so that I should receive positive feedbacks from the student, right? So what teacher one can conclude is like, the teachers can conclude like, I have 55% of negative feedbacks and 18% of positive feedbacks, so I do have negative feedbacks more and less positive feedbacks, so I should improve my teaching skills, right? And the teachers are not able to see what all actual feedback submitted by the students, like the teachers are not on time and all that thing, because having these feedbacks would hurt their sentiments, like, yeah, the students are submitting these kinds of feedbacks for me, so we are not showing that feedbacks to teachers section. Okay, so let's log out. So these are the roles. So we are having 3 user roles for the login section. One was admin or principal, second was HOD, and third was teacher, right? So our feedback system would actually help them for improving themselves and would provide a larger view for the principal or HOD to look whether the department is performing well or not. So this was a short summary for the student feedback system and was our working of our projects. So guys, thank you.